Hello and welcome to Indus News, live from Islamabad. I'm Naila Shuja and these are the headlines. The Taliban have captured two more provincial capitals, Kandahar and Lashkargah, in southern Afghanistan. Faced with rapid military gains by the Taliban, the United States has decided to scale down its embassy in Kabul. Pentagon says it will send about 3,000 extra troops within 48 hours to help evacuate embassy staff, while Britain also said it will deploy 600 troops to help its nationals and local translators get out. In Pakistan's South Waziristan district, the army has killed one terrorist and apprehended another in an intelligence-based operation. The military's media wing said soldier NAIK ZIA-UD-DIN was martyred during an exchange of fire in the Sarora area. The ISPR said the captured terrorists revealed the plan of a raid on the military post. Brazil has reported more than 1,100 daily deaths from COVID-19 and nearly 40,000 cases. In Pakistan, 79 people have died while over 4,600 tested positive in the past 24 hours. Globally, the death tally has exceeded 4.3 million, with more than 205 million infections. In China, at least 21 people have died and 4 are missing in Suzhou City after heavy rains lashed the central Hubei province. 5 cities in the Hubei province have declared red rain alerts, while 6,000 people have been evacuated from the affected areas. For more news and details, stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break. Welcome back. The Taliban have captured 2 more provincial capitals, Kandahar and Lashkargah, in southern Afghanistan. Talking to the media, a Taliban spokesperson said the fall of major cities is a sign that Afghans welcome the group. Faced with rapid military gains by the Taliban, the United States and the United Kingdom have ordered the evacuation of their nationals. The Pentagon says it will send about 3,000 extra troops within 48 hours to help evacuate the embassy staff, while Britain said it would deploy approximately 600 troops to help its nationals and local translators get out. Earlier, the United Nations warned that it will be catastrophic for civilians if the Taliban reach the capital, Kabul. In Qatar, Afghan talks ended with a call for an accelerated peace process and an immediate halt to attacks on cities. Earlier, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin held phone calls with the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani. They said that the United States remains invested in the security and stability of Afghanistan in the face of Taliban violence. Secretary Blinken said Washington is committed to supporting a political solution to the conflict. In Pakistan's South Waziristan district, the army has killed one terrorist and apprehended another in an intelligence-based operation. The military's media wing said soldier NAIK ZIA-UD-DIN was martyred in an exchange of fire in the Sarora area. The ISPR said the captured terrorist revealed the plan of a raid on the military post. In a statement, the ISPR added that the army is determined to eliminate the menace of terrorism. It said sacrifices of brave soldiers further strengthen the army's resolve. The Arab coalition says it has destroyed an explosive laden drone launched by the Houthis towards southern Saudi Arabia. In a statement, the coalition said that the drone was aimed at Hamas Mashhad city. It said that the Yemeni rebels deliberately and systematically targeted civilian infrastructure. The coalition said they are taking operational measures to foil the attacks on the civilian areas in the kingdom. At least 6 people, including a child, have been killed in a mass shooting in the city of Plymouth in southwest England. Police believe the suspect shot himself as well, while the incident is not terror-related. Police described the shooting as a serious firearms incident. They said that the situation is contained and investigations are underway. Brazil has reported more than 1,100 daily deaths from COVID-19 and nearly 40,000 cases. Globally, the death tally has exceeded 4.3 million, with more than 205 million infections. More in this report. The Delta variant that first emerged in India continues to devastate the world. In its weekly update, the World Health Organization has warned that the Delta variant has the potential of increased risks for reinfections. The organization called on governments to cooperate for virus origin studies and to depoliticize the situation. Meanwhile, the United States has authorized booster doses of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines for people with compromised immune systems. Over in the South, Mexico posted a record number of overnight cases. In Australia, authorities are mulling to deploy more soldiers in Sydney to enforce lockdown rules after it reported record cases.
We had, unfortunately, 390 cases of community transmission. Some are still under investigation, but at least 60 of those have been infectious in the community. And I anticipate, given the large number of cases we've had in the last few days, that unfortunately this trend will continue for at least the next few days. So it means all of us have to work harder to make sure we stay at home and follow the rules.
The situation in Southeast Asia is turning bleaker by the day. Sri Lankan authorities renewed warnings to the government to impose a lockdown after authorities rejected the measure. The Philippines has extended a ban on travelers from India and 9 other countries over the Delta variant concerns. In Thailand, volunteer medics are signing up to save patients' lives as the country reports record cases.
When I
signed up to be a volunteer, my job was to be a driver to bring infected patients to the hospital, but it has changed a lot. Now I have to perform first aid, provide oxygen, or even do CPR on people, so they can live for a bit longer to be able to make it to the hospital.
Vietnam's government is facing a tense situation over rising cases and a shortage of vaccines, as the country saw another day of near-record cases. In Pakistan, COVID-19 has claimed another 79 lives overnight. The health ministry says that the death toll has reached 24,266. The ministry said more than 4,600 people tested positive for the virus in the last 24 hours. The caseload is approaching 1,090,000, while over 979,000 have recovered. The ministry said there are more than 86,000 active cases. According to the NCOC, the positivity rate of infections has declined to 7.76%. Pakistan has administered more than 41 million doses of vaccines so far. In China, at least 21 people have died and 4 are missing after heavy rains lashed central Hubei province. 5 cities in the province have declared rain red alerts. State media reported the torrential rain forced the evacuation of nearly 6,000 people in Suizhou City. It also damaged more than 2,700 houses and shops and disrupted power in Lulin Township. The Ministry of Emergency Management said that the rescue crews have been dispatched to the worst affected areas. Earlier, the torrential rains and floods had killed 302 people in Henan province in July. In Turkey, the death toll from the severe floods and mudslides that struck Black Sea region has risen to 27. Authorities say 1 other person is reported to be missing. The Disaster and Emergency Management Presidency said at least 15 died in Kastamonu. It said another 10 bodies were recovered in Kastamonu. The 2 victims were found in Sinop, while an elderly woman is missing in the Bartın province. Many of the affected areas are left without power and village roads are blocked. Meanwhile, in Japan, almost 3 million people have been instructed to evacuate due to the heavy rains. The country's meteorological agency has issued heavy rain and mudslide warnings in Kyushu and Hiroshima. In Greece, firefighters continue to tackle blazes in northern Evia Island, where over 50,000 hectares have been damaged. Nearly 700 Greek and foreign crews are also operating in the western Peloponnese Peninsula to control the flare-ups there. More in this report. Wildfires are wreaking havoc across the globe, from Africa to the North Pole. In Greece, a forest fire on Evia has razed the land around villages, swallowing up pine trees and consuming scores of beehives. Meanwhile, massive blazes fueled by extreme heat waves and record droughts are burning in Russia's Siberia on a record scale. These are reported to be even larger than all others around the world combined. In Algeria, 22 people have been arrested, suspected to be behind the most devastating wildfires in the country's history, claiming at least 69 lives. President Abdulmajid Tebboune has called the fires a disaster and urged the preservation of national unity.
An enormous fire. In 1 minute it started to burn everywhere in all the villages of Kabyle region. The people of Algeria are alone. We have received nothing from the government except threats. People are acting together as one, and we have received aid from everywhere.
In Canada, wildfires have burned over 36,000 hectares of bush in the British Columbian region. Meanwhile, blazes in Bolivia have blackened more than 200,000 hectares in the agriculture area of Santa Cruz. Firefighters have been working for over 17 days to stop the fire from spreading to the dense forest areas.
It has been 17 days of work for the firefighters. In the province, 121,000 hectares have been affected, but 90% are pastures and the fires have not yet entered the dense forest areas. The work is to prevent the fire from advancing even more.
In Italy, multiple cities have released red alerts for high temperatures for consecutive days. At least 3 people have died in the country due to extensive wildfires raging in several southern regions. Climate change scientists consider methane to be a major driver of global warming. It is invisible and odorless, but its emissions are responsible for 30% of warming on a global scale since the pre-industrial era. This report has the details.
Methane is the main component of natural gas and is over 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide in the first 20 years after emission. It is produced as a byproduct of the oil and gas industry. Methane is the major component of natural gas and, if captured, can be used as a fuel for power plants and domestic purposes. Its concentration in the atmosphere is currently increasing at a rate of around 1% per year. And experts say tackling methane emissions is the strongest lever they have to slow climate change over the next 25 years.
There is an industrial area here using a lot of methane. Why we have to put it in the sky and contribute to the destruction of our climate? So there must be more rational ways in year 2021 to use methane instead of venting in the atmosphere.
While governments around the world do not usually report leak rate figures, scientists can estimate the leak rate by looking at reported emissions and reported production. A Clean Air Task Force official says it took the images of more than 200 sites across Europe over 3 months. He said most of these sites have been leaking emissions in some way or another. And on the second visit to the same sites revealed the authorities did nothing to fix it and the leakage was still there.
Whether it's a leak or some sort of operational practice, most of these emissions can be reduced at negative or marginal costs to the company. For instance, when you look at the video of the rusted hole in the tank from Italy, you see that could have been detected with the leak detection and repair program. And then the company could have gone and fixed the tank.
Thanks to rapidly advancing technology, a growing fleet of satellites is now aiming to help close the valve on methane by identifying such leaks from space. Scientists from a European technology startup have been able to pinpoint the location, potency, and size of leaks around the world via satellite imagery.
In Brazil, São Paulo's tallest building, the Mirante do Vale, now features a glass door on its 42nd level. The lookout from the floor is putting the fear of heights to the test. Details on this report. One of the biggest cities in the world now boasts a bird-eye view of its Brazilian concrete jungle. Called the Sampa Sky, this dizzying lookout will open to the public on the 8th of August. But a selected few were treated to a special preview at the 170-meter-tall building.
I thought I wouldn't be scared, but when I stepped out, I was a little scared. Then I looked out to the city. This beautiful view on this beautiful day too. I think it's beautiful. I love it. It was something that was missing in Sao Paulo.
The entire city can be viewed from the Sampa Sky. One can also locate and see the main tourist landmarks from over there.
A sensação é incrível.
This is an incredible sensation. I am scared to death of heights, I must confess. But I worked through this fear, and after the first step, it was incredible. It is incredible to see the city from this height.
The Sampa sky was inspired by Chicago's sky deck on the 103rd floor of the Willis Tower. It's now time for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Shares in the Asia-Pacific have declined ahead of economic releases that could hint at how the Delta variant is affecting growth. Seoul's Kospi led the losses, dipping more than 1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index closed to 0.5%. Mainland China's Shanghai Composite declined over 0.25%. Japan's Nikkei 225 dropped marginally. ASX 200 gained more than 0.5%. In the Kashmir Premier League, overseas Warriors have scored 211 runs at the loss of 6 wickets against the Kotli Lions. The Warriors won their last and the 13th match of the tournament by beating the Rawalakot Hawks. They have a chance to grab the second slot on the points table by winning today's match. Meanwhile, Muzaffarabad Tigers will compete against Mirpur Royals in today's second match to move into the qualifier round. For the latest news updates, you can follow us at our social media at Indus.News.